Greetings all. Today I'm finally doing my top 3 games of 2022. I was going to do it later last month, but I got ill. Apologies. But you didn't come here for me, necessarily. You came here for the games. So, without further ado, number 3. Potion Permit. You're a chemist from the capital coming to help a small town steeped in distrust. Can you make friends and help make things right? This game is a cozy simulation game with Stardew Valley vibes. The combat is simple. There is no farming. Everything you need is gotten through either foraging or killing monsters. You can go fishing and cook. There is furniture to decorate your house, and repairs can be made to your home and clinic. You can also upgrade your tools a few times. The way friend events are set up in this make it so much easier than many games of this type. All of the people in the village like the same thing. It's fairly easy to procure. And friend event notices are found on the town's bulletin boards. Locations and times are listed there, so you're unlikely to miss them or constantly need to look at a guide. One of the best parts of this game is your canine companion. Not only can you feed it and pet it every day, but it provides you with 2 great benefits when it likes you more. The best is that it will locate any person you've met, making it a cinch to track them down for quests or daily friendship conversation. Potion crafting is a puzzle with different ingredients you procure, having different shapes and colors. The cauldron you make potions in can be upgraded to allow you to use more ingredients per attempt. There are many games for diagnosing townsfolk and making extra money. They don't last long enough to get stale. Unfortunately, dating in this game is a bit of a joke. You can't get engaged or married. You can't have children. There are a few candidates, but just a few, though you can date any eligible person. I feel like this title putters out after a certain amount of time. The ending was lackluster, like a fizzled firework, though it sort of had one. But it's definitely worth the time and the money to play through it. I'm very glad I did. Number 2. Horizon Forbidden West. Join Aloy, a clone in a post-apocalyptic world, as she fights to save it from man and machine. This is a worthy follow-up to Zero Dawn. The combat and leveling are just as solid, with different upgrades to weapons and outfits still being fully in place. You get to see old faces and new ones with interesting callbacks. Stakes are higher and side content is abundant, with many things like cauldrons and tall necks returning. Aloy has a few new tools to help her in this one, including a glider that will sometimes save you from falling to your doom. The map is huge with much to see, explore, and collect. Each new place on the map felt distinct, with side characters who feel fairly authentic, though I do feel like the scant choices you can make in Aloy's dialogue matter very little in the scheme of things, but I don't think they did in the first one either. I encountered a glitch that almost made it impossible to progress, though, and it took me an hour to get the game to register that I needed the cutscene to trigger again. I had to run a fair distance away from the tutorial zone and come back. Outside of that, everything worked well. Unfortunately, the main story is a little paltry, and where they left it was a little cheap because of the DLC they're going to sell you soon. But it was a blast to play. I put a lot of hours into it. If you liked the first one at all, I totally recommend this one. It's not just more of the same, but it is a fully immersive world. So, now for my number 1 pick of 2022, Rogue Legacy 2. Okay, first of all, I usually explain somewhat of the story, but I'm not going to this time because it's actually fairly complicated, and I would need a few minutes to parse through everything. But you can find pieces of it throughout the map in subsequent playthroughs. I probably haven't even found it all. But you don't get elaborate cutscenes. It's like different scrolls or different documents you can look for. Each time you die, you play as a new character who is the descendant of your former one, just like in the first game. There is a great variety of character classes, weapons, and traits to have so it can give you a decent mix of combinations to play around with. Maps are randomly generated each time you respawn, but there is a way to keep everything the same if you want it. The enemy variety is okay. Most enemies have 3 or 4 iterations that hit harder or have a different attack pattern or maybe even 1 or 2 unique attacks. Bosses are challenging and quite distinct from each other, with parts in the story, meaning they each kind of have their own place in the lore. I've played through the game at least 3 times, but have yet to run into all the monsters, and I know that for sure because when each time the credits roll, you can actually see pictures of the monsters you have found, and then you get question mark frames for the ones you haven't. Leveling up is fun and keeps you going. I never felt like the gameplay loop got stagnant or that I got stuck for long, though some tutorials for the abilities were difficult for me. Like there is a shadow dash move that all your characters have, and sometimes they really want you to do complicated things in tight areas, and it's a disaster. If I ever play through it on stream, you're going to have fun with that. New Game Plus gives you a lot of aspects to tweak. It really does keep things fresh. The game had a huge update late last year that added new weapons and spells, more things to adjust in New Game Plus, an engine overhaul, and more. I sunk a couple months into this title and think of going back often. So if you're asking me which ones are worth the money, they all are, but I would pretty much wait for a sale on Aloy because she's the full 60. We bought her, husband bought her for me as a Christmas gift, Horizon, and it was $30. And I feel it was worth every penny of that. When I got through the full main story, would I have done the same thing at full price for that? I'm not sure. But it was a blast nonetheless. They all are. They're all great games. I might actually play Rogue Legacy 2 through completely at some point on stream, but I'm not entirely sure because you might get tired of me banging my head against the wall until I level up enough to get it, but oh well. That wraps it up. What were your favorite games of last year? Please let me know in the comments or what you thought of my choices. Have you ever played any of these? So, yeah, I'll see you on stream or around here or wherever you want to be. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!